Michel Barnier said there will be no turning back on the agreement signed last week after David Davis appeared to suggest it was just a statement of intent. The European Parliament has given the green light to Brexit by agreeing that sufficient progress has been made, but also slapped down Britain for undermining the talks. Michel Barnier said there will be no turning back on the agreement signed last week after David Davis appeared to suggest it was just a statement of intent. Reuters to Michel Barnier said there will be no turning back on the agreement signed by Theresa May last week. The EU's chief negotiator was speaking as MEPs voiced concern over the Brexit Secretary's comments earlier this week, which he was forced to backtrack from. But they gave their overwhelming support, by 556 votes to 62. For negotiations to move on to the next phase, where trade and the transition deal can be agreed. The motion they passed included a warning Mr Davis risked dissolving the good faith built up in negotiations, and said talks could only continue if the UK government fully respects the commitments in last week's report. Support from the European Parliament now makes it almost inevitable the leaders of the 27 remaining EU states will agree at a Brussels summit on Friday that the second phase can begin. AFP to the motion they passed included a warning Mr Davis risked dissolving the good faith built up in negotiations with his comments addressing MEPs in Strasbourg. Mr Barnier made an apparent reference to Mr Davis's comments, saying there could be no going back on the promises made in the joint report, which were prerequisites and conditions for continuing our work in a smooth fashion. He said his first job after sufficient progress is declared on the divorce issues will be to fairly swiftly hammer out the final wording of a withdrawal agreement, to put last week's deal into legally binding form. The EU's chief negotiator praised Mrs May for her courageous and respectable conduct of negotiations, which required trust between the UK and EU. And he switched into English as he told MEPs, "Let's keep calm and continue." Close quote. Most read in politics. V for victory. Britain's too. 5 meters veterans will be recognised with their own ID for first time. Brexit blue on blue. May humiliated as Tory rebels force her to give MPs vote on EU deal. MOVE MOGG UP Tory members want Theresa May to promote Jacob Rees Mogg to the Cabinet MAYDAY PM. Warns rebels not to derail Brexit and hints at compromise ahead of vote tonight. UK bailout. UK propped up Europe's defence after other EU states fleeced Nato by £338 billion. Done not a goner. European Parliament can't skewer doner kebabs after additive ban rejected. Mr Barnier warned that upcoming talks will be difficult, very tough, because the issues are extremely complicated, and because the consequences of Brexit are very serious. But Nigel Farage denounced the PM as Theresa the appeaser, telling MEPs she had given in on virtually everything during the ritual humiliation of her pre-dawn flight to Brussels to seal last Friday's deal. UKIP's former leader said the proposed transition period was the biggest deception yet played on the British people, and would mean the UK leaving the EU in name only. And he said there is the very real possibility that a future government will sign up to permanent membership of the single market and customs union.